get this party started. I got the music playing loud. How you like my outfit? I have to say I'm kinda proud. I got my dancing shoes on, and I'm feeling dangerous. Let's get this party started. Yeah, we gon' be.
We're just adding a chemical to help remove the chlorine and the chloramine from the water. Now if that's in there, we're gonna cover it up. Just recirculating the water inside this tank. Just to help maintain a uniform water temperature. Now we're going to turn the heat on and heat this water up to 154 degrees for our recipe. So this is Pilsner malt, malted barley.
And what is this?
So this is white wheat malt.
First off, welcome back. My friend here in Georgia, Kevin, and my two new friends, Steve and Jeff, and their families have graciously offered to let me film them brewing beer.
Pulls the husk off and then cracks the grain inside it in a few pieces.
I don't know if any of you have ever considered this, but there is a lot to it. Way more than I ever expected. They mill their own grains and admit that they are only amateurs and just make enough for themselves, but Kevin did not skimp as a hobbyist on the pro-grade equipment that he uses. It is state-of-the-art. I believe he said that they could make close to 10 gallons a batch. Wow. Anyone can get into brewing, and they said they started out with a home brewing kit from an online source that was able to produce a gallon or two. Of course, that was quickly depleted, and they had a great time with their entry-level kit. Well, that led to a little bit better kit, able to brew up a little bit more product. We spent the lion's share of the first day just getting the batch up to temperature. When they were done and cleaned up, we took a trip outside to see the humongous barbecue on wheels that Jeff brought to help with dinner for the 4 families involved. Topped off with tastings from earlier batches of brew. What a fantastic meal. So tell me again, what's happening?
Alright, so on our last episode, we actually made this very concentrated sugar water, which is now sitting in this kettle.
Okay.
We added some bacteria to it, let it sit for a couple days to actually make it very, very sour. So it's going to be very, very tart. Now we're just going to bring this up, we're going to boil it for an hour, we're going to add some hops to it, then we're going to chill it down as fast as we can, get it in a fermenter, add some yeast to it, and then we'll let it ferment out. For a couple weeks, then we're going to add some blueberries to it, let it sit on some blueberries for a couple weeks, and we should have with a blueberry sour.
Basically a full meal.
Right, pretty much. Sort of, yeah, pretty much.
Very nice, perfect.
All right.
Excellent.
Go and grab some air now. I try to pick myself up. Nothing's wrong with me yet, but maybe this bow tie was too much. I just have to be cool, looking like I'm Clint Eastwood. Ain't the bad or ugly. My mama said that I'm the good. We went to the club like we always do. This girl caught my eye.
So what I do is I set an alarm at 205 degrees in case we're out here drinking or something like that and I forget about it. It won't actually get up to a boil and risk boiling over from all the foam and stuff. So we're going to start foaming up really, really bad. You're going to see us, we're going to start, all this protein is going to start coming to the surface. So we're going to scoop off that protein as it comes out, knock it into that bucket, and just keep doing that until that's all done. Because any kind of protein that you have left in there adds chill haze to your beer.
Okay.
So if you have all this coagulated protein, you put it in a bottle or put it in a keg, and then you chilled it down to 35 degrees, and you hold it up to a light, it looks real, real cloudy.
Yeah, you're stirring itself. Kevin said that it basically piqued their thirst, no pun intended, for knowledge, so they began reading everything they could find on the subject and watching YouTube videos on home brewing, only to find out that there is quite the following.
Go and grab some air now. I try to pick myself up. Nothing's wrong with me yet.
There are lots of sites for beer recipes of all kinds. Companies that will test the water you use and make detailed recommendations on how to adjust the recipe for optimum flavor and body.
This girl caught my eye.
In the beginning, the batches were so small they would just bottle their product because it didn't last very long anyway. They have all the tools: paddles, spoons, spectrometers, pH kits, reverse osmosis, and an assortment of chemicals that might make your childhood chemistry kit jealous.
Another usual.
The first day we spent measuring, milling, mixing, and boiling to get the sugars out of a special grain mix to prepare for a tart beer. I believe they said it would be a type of blueberry sour.
Nothing's wrong with me yet.
Okay, I have to now admit, I am now officially spoiled. I think I'm becoming a beer snob. Their brews are unbelievable. Okay, I occasionally have a beer. When I'm really hot and tired, it kind of hits the spot. But I have a really hard time getting past the hoppy taste of commercially produced beers. And I guess it's not so much the hops as it is the bitter beer taste, which invariably leads to bitter beer face. You know, where your nose and mouth screws all up into the look of a toothless old man. They pump the sugar water from the stainless steel vat into the fermenter, the black thing with a conical bottom, siphoning a slight amount to test and give each of us a sip of the concoction. Yep, it's sweet with a hint of tartness. Nice. There was none of that in what they made. It was flavorful, smooth, great aroma, and went down easily. Side note, the alcohol content is a tad bit higher as well. Kevin and company were almost fanatical about the brewing process. Nothing is left to chance. Well, just look at the equipment. That control panel definitely is something that NASA would be proud of. And the rest of it looks like what you might expect to find in a nuclear reactor. The trio is precise beyond compare. Every possible bit of kit they use is disinfected and handled like one might find in a surgical theater. They check and double check. Recipes, water, chemicals, heat to the degree, time to the second, and procedures to the letter, and it shows in the consistency of their product. When they've finished a process, everything is meticulously cleaned and stored for the next round. So even though the equipment was so thoroughly cleaned, it is done all over again just prior to the brewing a new batch. The fermenter is then oxygenated to help the yeast work at peak efficiency, then moved in the house to the chiller where it will be kept at an optimum temperature for the fermenting process.
But maybe this bow tie was too much.
This sour batch will now sit for a couple of weeks.
Make the bad ugly. My mama said that I'm the good. We went to the club like we always do. This girl caught my eye, said, "How do you do?" She said, "I am not."
We are now ready to keg a batch which has matured. It's called Bermuda Triangle and has a hint of citrus.
I'll take the usual.
Kevin and Steve bring in a fresh keg, transfer pump, tubing, filter, and everything else needed to pull the brew out of the fermenter. Well, Jamie seems to be happy. They re-sanitize everything, then begin filling the empty keg. This batch yielded close to 7 gallons.
Go and grab some air now. I try to pick myself up. Nothing's wrong with me yet, but maybe this bow tie was too much. I just have to be cool, looking like I'm Clint Eastwood. Make the bad or ugly. My mama said that I'm the good. We went to the club like we always do. This girl caught my eye, said, "How do you do?" She said, "I am not interested, thank you." Then she left the room. Bartender, I'll have the usual. Give me the usual. I'll take the usual. I'll have the usual. Give me the usual. Another usual. Up. Nothing's wrong with me yet, but maybe this bow tie was too much. I just have to be cool, looking like I'm Clint Eastwood. Make the bad or ugly. My mama said that I'm the good. We went to the club like we always do. This girl caught my eye.
The guys take it out to a chest freezer modified to keep several kegs at the perfect temperature, 36 degrees for most and 40 degrees for Guinness.
I'll take the usual. I'll have the usual. Give me the usual. Another usual.
Now I know that beer foams when poured, kind of like a soda pop. And I know soda is carbonated. I just never associated carbonation with beer, even though I can see it. So now they pressurize the keg with CO2. Guinness would be pressurized with nitrogen. I guess that makes for a frothier, kind of milky head.
Nothing's wrong with me yet, but maybe this bow tie was too much. I just have to be cool, looking like I'm Clint Eastwood.
I imagine you could use helium, and that might be quite a party favor. They lowered it into the kegerator and connected the tap. The first taste is amazing.
You do. She said I am not interested, thank you. Then she left the room. Bartender.
Kevin and company, I am truly impressed. You guys are amazing, and special shout out to the ladies in their lives for all of their support.
Give me the usual, another usual.
And to our viewers, thank you all for following along. Hope to see you again next week. You go to video, pretend like you just got your pictures took. Okay, we're all done. What do you think?
That's over.